risk tolerance. She has diversified portfolio but is considering adding shares in Zambezi Farms Limited, one of Zambia's largest agribusiness companies. ZFL is listed on the Lusaka Securities Exchange and is involved in the cultivation, processing, and marketing of wheat, soya beans, and maize. The company also has a growing poultry division. ZFL's performance is heavily influenced by rainfall patterns, global commodity prices, and government agricultural policies. Colleagues, this is an example of unsystematic risk. Okay, this risk affects the sector where ZFL is. Okay, rainfall patterns, commodity prices, agricultural policies. This is some examples of unsystematic risk, which is industry specific. Historically, ZFL's returns have shown moderate correlation with a broader Lusaka Securities Exchange market. Mulenga has gained the following data. Okay, so in 2020, the return on the ZFL stock was 15%. Return on Lusaka All Share Index 10%. In 2021, the return is negative 5% for ZFL. For the Lusaka Securities Exchange, 8%. 2022, return 25%. And then return on Lusaka Security Exchange, 15%. Okay. Here it tells the current risk-free rate for the treasury bills is 11%. The expected market return for 2024 is 16%. Mulenga's current portfolio, excluding ZFL, has an expected return of 14% and a standard deviation of 18%. The covariance of returns between her current portfolio and ZFL stock is 0.0225. Okay. So we have the questions to address. Okay. Calculate the expected return and standard deviation risk of ZFL stock based on the historical data provided from 2020 to 2023. Show your workings. Okay, colleagues, the expected return is like the average return. Okay, the average return. If you invest in Zambezi Farms Limited, you want to find what would be the average return. The standard deviation measures the risk. Okay, how your returns are going to differ from your expected returns. That's what the standard deviation is, the risk. Okay, so let's just talk about how your returns can differ from what you expect. Okay, so a small standard deviation, your returns are going to be near the average return. Okay, if your return is 10% and you have a small standard deviation, your returns will be near that 10%, 8%, 9%, 11%, 12%. Your returns will be in that arena. But if you've got a big standard deviation, and let's say your return is 10%, then with a big standard deviation, you can find the next year your return is 40%, the next year is negative 30%, fluctuating. Okay? So, as investors, standard deviation is very important for us. Okay? People who are risk takers, who want big profits, okay, the investments have high standard deviations. The normal person who is a more conservative investor, you want a small standard deviation. You don't want things that fluctuate. So let's tabulate these things. Okay, so for the expected return, colleagues, here's the table again. It's just getting the average. Okay, colleagues, you just get the average. Let me just bring the table nearby here. Okay, expected return, you're just getting the average. Yes, these returns, we add them up. Okay, as you can see, expected return, summation of the individual returns divided by the number of returns, basically. So you're just going to add 15 plus -5 plus 25 plus 10, and you divide that by 4. Okay, 15 plus -5, that gives us 10. 10 plus 25, that's 35. 35 plus 10, you get 45. Okay, so 45 divided by 4, 11.25%. That is the average return if you invest in Zambezi Farms Limited. Okay, on average, expect a return of 11.5%. Are we okay with this, colleagues? All right, next, now we need to calculate the standard deviation. Okay, so remember, this formula are from statistics. Okay, remember, you get the variance first. Okay, variance, each return minus the average return, you square that and divide by n. Okay, this formula here. So let me show you how it applies. Okay, we've got the individual returns that were given to us in the table there. Our average return, as you can see, is 11.5 throughout. So you're going to get the deviation. Okay, the deviation is just saying how far is this return from the expected return. Okay, how far is the individual return from the average? This is what the deviation is. The individual return minus expected return. So here what you're just doing, you say 15 minus 11.25, 3.75. -5 minus 11.25, -16.25. 25 minus 11.25, 13.75. 10 minus 11.25, -1.25. Okay, so that's the first thing you do, colleagues. Calculate the deviations. Okay, after you get the deviations, square them. 3.75 squared, 14.06. -16.25 squared, 264. 13.75 squared, 189.06. -1.25 squared, 1.5625. Okay, you square each of the deviations. Okay, remember, we are following what the formula said. Okay, let me just bring the formula here so that no one is getting confused. Okay, this RI minus ER, these are the deviations here. Then you can see we have to square. On the formula you see a square, that's what we're doing, we're squaring the deviations. Okay, then this E, sigma, it means you add up all of this. Okay, so these squared deviations, you add them up. Okay, you're going to say 14.0625 plus 264 plus 189 plus 1.5625. Okay, you get 468.75. Any questions, colleagues?
Not clear, sir. Maybe you can just start afresh, sir, on the calculation for standard deviation. Thank you.
Each return you're subtracting it from the average. Okay, as you can see, sir, here, have you seen these returns here?
Yes, sir.
You subtract it from the average here. Are we okay with that first part?
Okay, okay.
That is what you call the deviation. You're just seeing how far is that return from the average. Okay, think of it as a number line like this. A number line like this. Your average return is 11.25. That's the average return. So a return of 15% is 3.75 units away. Okay. A return of 15% is 3.75 units away from the average. Okay. A return like -5 is 16 units away. Okay, are you seeing this, Mr. Sir?
Yes, sir.
So these are the deviations first. You are calculating each return. How far is it from the average? Once you get the deviations, okay, you square them. Okay, each deviation you square it. This one squared, this other one squared. Are we okay with that, sir? You square each deviation. Are we okay with that, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
After you square the deviations, add them. As you can see where I added here, plus, 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 plus. Okay, so that is the top part of the formula E. Okay, that is this top part of the formula that we've done. Okay, so once you've added the squared deviations, okay, you divide it by n. Remember, there are number of observations. N is just number of observations, so you just say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's 4 years, 2021, 2020 up to 2023, 4 years. So n equals 4. Okay, so you divide 468.75 divided by 4, you get 117.1875. Are we okay with that part, colleagues? Are we okay with that? Any questions? Okay. So what we've calculated is the variance. Okay, this is the variance. Now the standard deviation is just the square root of the variance. Okay. So you get the square root of 117.1875. Square root of this is 10.825%. Okay, that is your standard deviation or your risk. Okay, yes. Any questions? So how we can visualize this, because we always have to visualize these things, colleagues. Okay, always visualize these things. So this is how you can visualize it. Okay, your average return is here 11.25%. So you have a standard deviation of 10.85%. We can round it off to 11. Okay. So 11 plus 11, that is 22% here. 11 minus 11, that is 0% here. So this is the range your returns will be in, basically. Okay, maybe in 2024 your return might be 3%. 2025 you might get a return of 20%. 2026 you might get a return of 10%. Okay, standard, it's just giving you a range where your returns can fall on average. Okay, so a bigger standard deviation means your returns can fluctuate. Okay, so if it's good, you might make more profit, but if it's bad, you make a bigger loss. But the smaller the standard deviation, the less your returns are going to fluctuate. They will be near the average. Okay, so remember it like this: high standard deviation, your returns will be far from the average. They will be far from 11.25. Small standard deviation, it means your returns are going to be near this 11.25. Any questions, colleagues?